Are you wondering if your long-running tasks are suitable for AWS Lambda or AWS Step Functions? You're not alone. Many developers face this dilemma when trying to transition to a serverless architecture. I totally get it. Running applications that take hours to complete can be a real headache, especially when you're trying to optimize for serverless solutions. It's a common concern, and today we're going to explore it together. Here's the situation we're diving into. One user has an application on an AWS EC2 instance that runs daily. It fetches files, parses them, updates a database, and sends notifications. But with tasks taking up to 3 hours, they're looking for a serverless solution. Sound familiar? Let's break it down. So what's the issue here? AWS Lambda has a 5-minute execution timeout, which can be a deal breaker for long-running tasks. While AWS Step Functions can orchestrate tasks, they still rely on Lambda's limitations. Let's see if there's a better fit. Stick around. By the end of this video, you'll know whether AWS Lambda, Step Functions, or another service is right for your long-running tasks. To determine if AWS Lambda and AWS Step Functions are suitable for the user's application, we first need to understand the limitations of these services. AWS Lambda has a maximum execution time of 5 minutes per function. This means that any task taking longer than this will not complete successfully. Given that the user's tasks can take up to 45 minutes, it is clear that AWS Lambda is not a good fit for this application. Instead, AWS Step Functions can orchestrate multiple Lambda functions, but they still inherit the 5-minute limit. Therefore, the user needs to consider other options. The user mentioned AWS Batch as a potential solution. AWS Batch is designed for running batch jobs and can handle long-running tasks without the 5-minute limitation. This makes it a more suitable choice for the user's application. To implement AWS Batch, the user will need to refactor their application into jobs that can be submitted to the batch service. This may involve breaking down the tasks into smaller jobs that can run independently, allowing for parallel processing where applicable. In summary, the user's application is not a good fit for AWS Lambda or Step Functions due to the execution time limits. Instead, AWS Batch is recommended for handling long-running tasks effectively. The user should consider restructuring their application to leverage this service. Fun fact: AWS Batch can automatically scale your resources based on the volume of jobs you have. It's like having a personal assistant that knows exactly when to step in. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. In response to your questions, the user suggests that for tasks running around 45 minutes, using AWS Lambda or Step Functions might not be the best choice. Instead, they recommend using an EC2 micro instance, which is cost-effective and can handle longer-running tasks. They confirm that your understanding of AWS services is correct and emphasize that using EC2 allows you to run your existing Perl scripts without modification. They also mention a useful article on using data pipelines to manage EC2 instances efficiently. Let's move forward and look at another answer. An alternative approach involves using activity workers with AWS Step Functions. You can register activities, which will give you an Amazon resource name, or ARN. This ARN can be used in task states, allowing you to run your code or worker anywhere, including Lambda or EC2. The key benefit is that activity workers can run for up to a year, making them suitable for long-running tasks. To implement this, you would create an activity using the Create Activity API, which returns an ARN. Then, in your state machine, you create a task state with that ARN. Your worker will poll for tasks and process them, reporting success or failure back to Step Functions. Let's move forward and look at another answer. This user suggests exploring AWS Step Functions and SWF for your workflow needs. They note that Step Functions is the more modern option, but SWF can handle long-running tasks better, although it requires a custom execution environment for deciders. For Step Functions, there's an alternative approach using job pollers. Job pullers can check if a task is complete and can wait for a specified time if it's not. The maximum execution time for workflows is 1 year, making it suitable for long-running tasks. Here's a pro tip. When transitioning to serverless, always evaluate the execution time limits of the services you plan to use. This can save you a lot of headaches down the line. And there you have it. You now have a clearer understanding of whether AWS Lambda, step functions, or AWS Batch is right for your long-running tasks. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more insights.